What makes you feel like a daredevil right now?
Well, I'm getting ready to do what daredevils do. So I just hope I come out on the other side.
How do you feel knowing that Pastor Troy, this is his first time experience? What were some things that were going through your head?
Hey, if this isn't a way to bring Jesus to people, then I don't know what else is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? He did an amazing job. I'm really, really proud of him.
Hey guys, welcome to the Troy Gramling podcast. It is an honor to hang out. I'm excited today. You know, our goal is always to partner with you to reach your potential, to become everything that God has created you to be. And so we try to talk to some interesting people. And, everybody has something to teach us, especially those who have lived, you might say, an extreme life. And so today I have a 20-year, plus veteran of extreme sports, world record holder, and we'll talk about which ones he still holds. Been on television, traveled the world, and he is known as Mr. Dizzy. Welcome to the program today. It is an honor to have you.
Oh, I'm stoked. This is great. Yes, live an extreme life. That's good. I do everything but do what the normal person would do in my life most of the time.
Well, I know the first time I saw you was on the TV show. You were on, was it the History Channel?
Yeah, History Channel, American Daredevils.
Yeah. Now, how did that come about?
Really, honestly, it was a guy that I had known back in MySpace days. He was a little stuntman, and he wanted to film me I was doing little stunts at my track, nothing. I was jumping a school bus, that kind of stuff. But to me, that was small time then, and I'd do one or two a year. And he came with a gentleman, and they wanted to film me doing one of my stunts. So I jumped a Suburban, did something crazy, and they liked it so much they started filming me for about 4 years before this TV show even started. And then they sold their show, and then we refilmed everything all over again for History Channel. But it was kind of, divine placement, divine being in the right place. The guy that discovered me per se was in the show too. Dr. Danger was kind of our village, I don't want to say idiot, but kind of our village comedy act. And then we had Spanky Spangler, who was the legend at the time. And all of that kind of just came together. None of it should have happened, and it happened. And then kind of one of those, be careful what you wish for, or be careful what you pray for. It was one of those shows that, like, it didn't put me in the light that I wanted to be in. And it made me look like a business mogul and fighting with my guys. And I learned what reality television was. There's not a lot of real in the reality.
Now, how long did you film for that particular show?
That particular show we filmed about 2 years. We did one season. We were right up against Sons of Anarchy, and our ratings were kind of in the middle. And I really didn't want to do another season if I was in that light. I wanted backstory with family and all that stuff. And they were really adamant about me being who they wanted me to be.
It's funny how reality TV is not, like you say, so real sometimes, for sure. So how'd you get started?
The guys, get started doing stunts?
No, yeah. Let's go all the way back. I don't know if people. Was it Evel Knievel or?
It was. What? It was. I was the kid with the little red, white, and blue bike with the banana seat on it. My friends would set up ramps. They'd say, "I bet you can't do that," and of course, I can do that. And it was. Evel Knievel was a big thing in my childhood, and now I'm friends with the whole entire family. And Evel's gone, and Robbie's gone. But me and his granddaughter, Kristen, we speak all the time. She just had a birthday the other day. Happy birthday. But it kind of was another surreal experience where your childhood heroes you see, and Spanky Spangler was somebody I saw growing up too. getting up to doing what they're doing. But yeah, I was that kid with the bike. I jump. Kind of always, I watched the TV show Fall Guy. I always wanted to be a stuntman.
Oh yeah.
And then life happened. I went in the Army, went through that, started doing HVAC, all that. And one day I was at the track and this guy came out to do a stunt in the car. And I saw the crowd reaction. I was like, that was pretty cool. So I thought, that talked to the promoter into letting me do a jump the next year, which was a school bus. And I put these 2 little ramps up I found, and I hit the thing. I thought I was going to go like 10 feet. I went like 60 feet further than I was supposed to. It fell over on its side. The whole roll cage I built fell out of it. But I was like, okay, I ain't doing that again. And then I walked out the doors and I heard the crowd going crazy. I'm like, this is what I need to do. I raced for 25 years, and I always tell people I was an okay race car driver, but I was way better at wrecking and putting on a show. I kind of took my career that direction.
Now, were you an adrenaline junkie? I mean, like roller coasters and just the whole thing, or more just in the stunts?
Pretty much in the stunts. I mean, I still drive terrible. People, I mean, I drive great, but everybody else thinks it's terrible. But I'm claustrophobic, believe it or not. So that's one of my downfalls. But when I get stuck in a car, I'm like, if I'm breathing, flip it over. We're good. My life, not so much adrenaline junkie as I go and I approach things smart. You know, there's a reason I'm still walking today after doing 8 world records, all that good stuff. You got to approach it smart, and you got to be right with your faith too, because Jesus might be the co-pilot with me, but when it's time for me to quit bringing people to him, I'm going, and I know it.
Got to be ready for that. So now tell us about your some of your world records that you have.
I'm the only guy in the world that spiraled a school bus in the air. I'm the only guy in the world that's ever spiraled a limousine, 31-foot limousine in the air, or any kind of limousine, really. I just set a Guinness World Record for the distance last 4th of July for the distance traveled in a limousine, or jumped in a limousine, which was 163 feet, beating the old record of 103 feet. Guinness is real tough to work with.
Right.
I'm still, every time I turn around, they just want more money. They said, "Oh, now it's in front of a live audience." We didn't know that. Yes, you did, but we want another 10,000 for us to send you your certificate now. So I'm kind of weighing that, because as a kid, I said one of these days I'm going to be in this book.
Right.
If I wouldn't have said that as a kid, I wouldn't even care about if I got the certificate or not. But we're figuring it out. But I've done, let's see, 13 cars standing on end like this, hitting 13 in a row, which was the world record. Now the guy in Finland did 17. But I'm okay with that. I think I've jumped a small bus farther than anybody else.
Wow.
There's 8 of them. I probably got more than 8, but 8 are the real cool ones.
Wow. And it's a power of a brand. If you think about Guinness is able to, they're not putting their life on the line for any of that. And yet they're going to charge you because their brand is so, because I imagine just when you throw that out, the Guinness record, people perk up a little bit.
They do a little bit. World record brings it to, but when you say Guinness, and I could say I beat a couple of Guinness records, but one official ranking one that we've done, and it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a ton of money to bring them out here. But if you don't, it's still, we're 30 grand in and just set up stuff for that stunt to make sure we qualify for the record.
Right. Right. It's amazing. I guess if it's worth building a brand for the future, for sure. Now, you one of the things that's on your Instagram, and I notice even in the show, you always have your crew. There's a lot where you're talking about your crew. How do you? I know there's a lot of folks who are listening or watching who are leading their businesses and some or managing in some way. I mean, you're building a team that you're going to have to trust at the end of the day, because you're trusting not just with the business or the profit, but you're trusting with your life.
Yeah. So the people that come, everybody wants to help. A lot of people think they want to try to do it. They want to try to do it, and they see really what happens when they're up close. Like, I don't want to do that. But a lot of it is just people you trust. And I think when you're a pastor, God puts people in your life that they're there for a reason. And the people I have, I mean, one guy, Cowgirl, we call him, and it was a joke because when the TV show came out, he wanted to be on the TV show with it. He was the guy that just helped us out once in a while. I said, I think you're more of a cowgirl than a cowboy, just being funny. Well, he owned this name, and now he's known as the Cowgirl, and it's awesome. He owns it. He's great. He's a good dude. And we did it just to make him wear a pink hat, really. But he ended up evolving into my guy that's the most loyal, loyal guy that I've had for the longest time. He's always checking little things like the seat belts and the nuts and bolts, and going into all the cars that I might land in to make sure there's no drive lines or exhaust or something that's going to stick through the bottom. And I have landed on stuff and had a drive line come through the passenger floorboard, which could have been my floorboard. But he knows what to look for. And once they do this over and over and over, they get better and better at it. And they don't. Sometimes when you do things a lot of times and it's a lot of the same stunt when we're performing, you could take things for granted, and they don't do that. They make sure that each one is a brand new stunt, a brand new event, and we look for everything all over again. We don't take, they make sure that the seatbelts are tight. That sounds stupid. If you're jumping a car, you want to make sure your seatbelts are tight, of course, but we look at that every time. We look at bolt stretches or any of that stuff. So that's how you get people is when you get them, they're going to let you know whether they're worth staying on the team or not just by their actions. And if it's a party and fun to them, it's probably not going to work out for us. We're pretty serious the whole time going through this stunt. Afterwards, we shout out and have fun with the crowd and all that. But when prep comes along, that's when your key people matter.
Yeah, and I'm sure.
And treat them with respect. That's a huge thing.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
And you always treat your help not as help. Treat them as respect. Most of them are like brothers to me, and sisters.
Yeah. Now, have you because anybody that's led, and especially as long as you have and as closely with your team, I'm imagine has, been hurt as well. Somebody you put your trust in and they grew impatient or wanted their own thing or, in some way. And you're a stunt guy. That's a tough sport and all of that. But I still, we all have to kind of deal with our emotions and, the reality of being hurt or stabbed in the back, whatever terminology somebody wants to use. So how have you dealt with that and kept it, because sometimes people, then they just close up, you know what I mean? And they don't trust anybody, but you have to trust some people. So how have you dealt with those who haven't treated you so kindly?
Well, one of them was very close to me. He was my teammate. I had him do his first stunt on a show called Recreation Nation that I was on for a break for just one episode. And then he wanted to do his own thing. And then we did it together. The History Channel show really kind of made us look like we're fighting all the time on the show. We weren't, but there was still some animosity in there. I was trying to teach him to do it the way I wanted to do it. He wanted to do it more like the Hollywood guy and be he was young. I was younger. And eventually he broke up and went off on his own, going to some of my people and getting some shows and all that. I was bitter, but I was never like, oh, I don't like you ever again. We're great friends still now. But I just didn't want to see him get hurt. I didn't want to see those things happen. And it felt like I kind of got stabbed in the back in the beginning when he started going to all the promoters that I worked with. And luckily I had built a good enough name, but like, does Mike know you're here? So it worked out. But I don't let a lot of that outside influence affect anything that I do, because I know what my path is. I know what my goals are. And if you let people, there's a boy on the History Channel. I've had emails like, what do you have to do with history? I hope you die. I get those kind of emails left, right. And they hurt a little bit, but you can't let that influence the path you're on, because if it does, it'll wreck you. And when I get wrecked, it isn't just a little wreck. It's like a broken back or broken bones or, death, whatever. I say you can only die once, so you can't really mess that up. But I'd like to just do it when it's right.
Right. When it's supposed to happen. Yeah, that's because, we all deal with that. We all get, that we're our peopleness or our humanity we bring with us, wherever we go. And you get, if you don't deal with it effectively, it can, like you say, it can mess you up, mess your team up, your relationships. So it's important. How do you decide, you could do a million different stunts. I don't know where the line of what wisdom is. How do you determine how much of a risk you're willing to take to entertain a crowd?
I used to say it was about the money, but it isn't. It was, I'd say, well, I ain't doing that for that much because, if I'm going to get hurt, then I need to pay the doctor bills. But that's not really it. As I went through my career, at first it was probably to show off a little bit and say I could do that, and build the brand kind of thing. But now, I kind of let it just tell me what I'm going to do. I mean, I changed from the perspective of doing this because it makes me look cool
Uh-huh.
to bringing people to God with it, years ago. And now, if I get an opportunity to do something pretty epic, I will do that as long as, it makes financial sense to not lose money doing it. But some of the stupidest things I've done that haven't been epic have brought me so many people to turn on to Christ,
Mhm.
but there's no line. I mean, most people have a line. One of my stunt guys, Corey, that does stuff with us. He's like, I'm not doing anything that you do when it comes off to the ramps and hitting big stacks. You're like, but I will do, hit the cars on the ground or jump into some standing cars. But some of the big spirals and all that, he said he'll never do. He has a line. I haven't found my line yet. If I see something that's cool, I want to do it. Spiraling in the school bus, for example, that was 12 people had tried it. 4 people broke their backs. 2 people died. And I thought it would be a great idea on the 4th of July prior to it to say, hey, next year I'm going to spiral a school bus down your front stretch. And then for 364 days, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to spiral a school bus down the front stretch next year. And I did it. And it was the only successful one.
Wow.
And, but it was, I'll tell you a quick story about that. So when I landed, the whole front of the bus went over to the passenger side and bent like that. So I'm sitting straight and my legs were bent over to the passenger side. When that first big scream you hear of yes out of the bus was not that I completed it. It was that I took my belts off and my legs lined back up with my body. And I was like, yes, I can still walk. That's the truth.
Oh man, that's and I would imagine even like the average person like myself doesn't even understand how dangerous some of the things you do actually are. Because you make them look, I mean, again, there's the show part, but you know, but you've done this. So, you jump a car into a stack of cars. I don't know all that can happen. I've only seen you do that. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, there's people that have, the cars came in and smashed the whole cage onto them and have got them. That stuff looks simple until it goes wrong, and it goes wrong. It goes wrong sometimes. And sometimes you go through, you push the car so hard out of the other side, you go tumbling end over end. And those end over end tumbles are what hurt, because every time you hit the solid ground with the front of that car, it stops bending eventually. And then your body feels that each time. You got to be super. Everything we do, I mean, can kill you. It's not a joke. It's not anything, but the realness is people have died doing every stunt that I've ever done. That have tried the stunts that I've done. But again, with that crew that I have, and with me engineering my own jump pod, which is a little cage that fits in there that we take to every show. And everybody wants one, but I won't give one out because I don't want no one to get hurt in mine. But it's those innovations that I do each individual. I learn from every single stunt we do. Every single one I learn something from. And that's what keeps us going. I had jumped into one where I jumped into a motorhome and there was a steel rod in the motorhome that was part of the construction, and it came through the windshield, scraped my helmet, and went through the back of my seat. And it would scrape my helmet. That's how close it was to my head. So I learned never use that kind of a motorhome again. And those stupid little simple things like that have big giant consequences when you don't know about them. So you just
have you had family say you need to quit? Do something different.
Well, been married once. A couple of girlfriends liked the idea of it, liked all the entourage stuff and all the cool stuff. And then they like, yeah, we can't handle thinking you might die tonight each week. And then my mom, she's watched me do the blow-ups. She watched the TV show, but she won't come watch me do a live stunt at all.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. Now, for those of you listening and watching, we had seen you on television and contacted you about coming. We were doing a series, and you came down to South Florida and blew up a car for us, and that was incredibly exciting.
You don't remember that conversation? I don't know if you remember that conversation, but when you asked me to come do that, I said I would do it, but you had to get in with me, if you remember correctly. I know you haven't forgot about it. And they said, I don't know that he'll do that. And then I'm like, well, that's the only way I'm coming down there. And I would have still came down, but I just want to see, if you do it. And, you did it, and it blew me away. And I remember turning around just for a second, and you weren't standing right there yet. I'm like, oh, I got to go back. And then there you were. But almost left you in the car.
it was incredibly exciting, and I got the helmet right here. I don't know if they can see it on the screen, but you wrote me a note, and I still have it. I still have the shoes, and it's amazing, like the boots and the helmet. The stuff on the top's all melted from the. I mean, it's real fire.
Yeah, it's real fire. Yeah. I've actually had those helmets where I go to take them off and my fingers go into the plastic.
Oh my gosh! Oh
Those are
man!
the real hot ones. I mean, yours was pretty hot. Your fire department. There's a great picture with a fireman holding a hose.
Yeah.
At yours, it's an amazing picture.
Yeah, we had a good team that helped us out, and then of course, somebody was asking me today when I told them I was going to be talking to you, and they were like, "Well, did you sleep the night before?" And to be honest, I trusted you. I'd seen you on TV. I knew what you had done. The thing that I was most concerned about was, you said that when it explodes, not to breathe, because you breathe in that heat and all that stuff. That was the thing I was the most worried about, is not choking on all that heat and smoke and stuff. So
it's called superheated vapor, and it'll just eat your lungs out. But you got to be careful with that.
But it was an incredible experience. I'm sure on the YouTube version of this, we'll put a little clip of it happening. But it was a true highlight. I appreciate it. And I'm not at all a stunt type person. I just and I do remember the conversation, and I do remember, like, he'll come, but he wants you to do it with him.
Yeah, it's a great stunt. It can be super easy, but again, even something as simple as that, we were there taking out the door closing mechanisms. We were making sure everything was safe inside. And I just a year ago or 2 years ago, I went to go get out of one, and something on the inside of there grabbed my foot, and I couldn't get out the door all the way. Oh, wow. So I just slid my boot off and hopped on one foot like the Easter Bunny out of the fire with my sock on my foot. Wow. And that's by God's grace. I didn't burn me. I told everybody, yeah, thank goodness for those fireproof socks. No, it was just a Costco sock. And I was just lucky. It got crispy, but it didn't burn me.
Wow. That had to be experience, I guess, is what. Yes. You don't freak out in those kind of situations and environments.
No, you can't panic on any of this stuff.
Now, what keeps you going? I mean, you've been doing this now for a couple of decades. A lot of people lose passion for what they're doing, or they get, like you said, they get careless. They start to take things for granted. What do you attribute, your passion and your desire to still continue to go out there and delight the folks?
Man, I got to tell you, it's some days it's harder I broke my back like 2 years ago, and I did another stunt 6 months later, which I shouldn't have done, but I did, and it worked fine. I'm still good. But what keeps me going, really, honestly, is the people, the kids, the people, and it opens up a lot of doors and a lot of opportunity to tell my testimony to people. As light as it might be at the track, I don't go down a deep hole with them about it, but we talk about it. And why are you still safe? And why don't you die? And aren't you afraid of dying? I'm like, if you got Jesus Christ in your life, you're never afraid of dying because you know what's going to happen. And that really is what drives me. I mean, I'm probably going to slow down. I'm 56. I'm going to be 57. I had the 55 and Still Alive tour last year, which was a good tour. And we call this one Reckoning with the W, or the Reckoning tour this year. But it's getting to a point now where my body's still okay, but I don't want it to be completely depleted before I quit. Right. So I'm not going to quit ever doing fire. But as far as the car jumps, they're going to slow down. And they're going to cost a little more when I do them, I think. But as long as I can still bring people to God through this platform, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, think sometimes that you have to be serving, on some kind of church staff or something to make a difference. But God has a unique way of using whatever it is that we do to impact the folks around us. I'm sure your crew is impacted, by your faith as well.
Absolutely. We have a prayer before every jump. One of my guys is still not a believer per se. I mean, he believes, but he knows there's Jesus Christ, but he's not a practicing Christian. It's like I like to call it. But all of my guys know how important it is to me and how important it is to our company. And I'm fortunate that way.
Yeah. No. Well, and I'm sure that's the result of, you know, the way you've lived your life and the impact that you have. And I mean, when you're working as closely, I mean, and that's the great thing about whatever it is we do professionally, we're doing it with people who know who we really are. You know, it's one thing on a Sunday to put on a whatever and, you know, go to church and smile. It's another thing, you know, during the week to be able to be vulnerable and honest and authentic about, you know, our faith, our struggles, our doubts, you know, the whole process of what it means to be a Christ follower.
There's a lot of people that leave church on the seat when they walk out the door, and I know that, and I have friends that are that
Right.
way. And all you can do, I mean, we're here to fix the broken. You know, that's what God wants us to do. So I don't hold any of that against anybody, and I'm there. I've had a guy that I know that's been an alcoholic for a whole bunch of years just reached out to me the other day and said, "Hey man, I need something different in my life." And I said, "I got the answer for you. Let's go take a look at it." And we talked about it, and he's going to go to church with me next Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Not this next Sunday, the Sunday after. I have a show this weekend.
Right.
But he's going to go with me, and he's called me like 5 times since then about going. So is it going to burn down? I'm like, only maybe it might, but we got lots of fire extinguishers there. You'll be all right.
So this I gotta have any other pastors got in the fire car with you?
No, in fact, my pastor, Jeff Knight at the Rock Church, he was in a race car thing, and he got a burn on his neck from being in a fire on accident, and he don't want nothing to do with fire anymore. I was trying to get him to do it, but
see, that makes me even more proud.
Yeah, there you go. You're the only one. You own that zone, man.
I might call Guinness and see if I can get them down here.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, that is so. What do you see yourself doing once you do hang up the
Probably putting on 2-hour shows as the promoter at different tracks or places, and probably doing something like I have a show called or what are we calling that? We changed the name of it, but it was the Crash Factory Live is what it was going to be. I think, you know, it'll have a couple of monster trucks, a few, you know, freestyle motorcycle guys, a few car stunts, and maybe racing depending upon the track. But I want to promote that show and do an 1.5 to 2 hour show. And then there's never hang it up. I don't think my suit's ever going to get all the way dry, but it's what I do is going to have purpose, and not necessarily financial purpose, but what I do is going to have purpose. There's going to be a reason I do whatever I do. Do I want to jump a car in my 60s? I say no now, but you never know. You never know.
How did COVID impact, you know, you as far as doing the shows and all of that? Because it, you know, I came out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, people are all locked in their homes. How did you guys maneuver through that?
Well, I had the first 4th of July off I've had in 20 years. I bought a motorhome. I used it twice, and I never have used it again. But no, one really cool, interesting thing. I don't know if you knew who Owen Smith is. He like takes pictures of all the celebrities and stuff. He had a concept where he took a truck, and it was they called it Pearl. Him and 2 of my friends, well, one friend of mine and 2 other people got in this truck, and my friend was filming for the show Expedition Unknown for History Channel, and that was wrapped up because of COVID. So they took this truck, towed it behind the motorhome, and then drove it to take a picture of. So they got like Las Vegas Boulevard. There's Elvis standing in the middle of the boulevard with nobody there, and he's got a picture through the window of this truck. And the window is the frame in every picture because that keeps the social distancing for the pictures, you know. And then they called me like, "Hey, Mike, up in Washington, what are you doing?" I'm like, "You know, dealing with COVID like you. Like, what could you do for us?" I'm like, "I'll light myself on fire in my front yard if you want." And he's like, "Okay, well, we're going to be driving up there. We're in California. We'll see you in a couple of days." They drove up here, and they stopped all the way in between at different things. And like after my house, they went to Demi Moore's, and they went all over the place. And that's the only thing I did that whole year was I put my suit on, I put my helmet on, and I held a COVID-19 cardboard sign, and I was on fire, and the sign's burning, and I'm burning. And he did a book, and I made the back cover of the book. He had his art gallery. My picture sold for a lot of dough, so it was really cool. It was great to be part of it. His name's Brian Bowen Smith. If you want to check it out, his pictures out. He's got some good stuff.
Brian
Bowen Smith, and it's called Drive-Bys is the book.
Okay. No, I'll check that out.
Amazing.
I'll check that out for sure. Well, man, I just
want to. I didn't do nothing.
Now, did things come back pretty quick, or?
I think. I mean, we we're in Washington, so yeah, nothing's happening up here in this state very quick. But there's a lot of government that was in the way.
Yeah.
For me personally, I have an HVAC company, so I'm an essential worker. So I was essentially working all the time, whether I was or not, because I was not sitting home on the couch. That's not me. But yeah, it recovered. I mean, the following year we did like 4 shows, and then once everybody got all their restrictions, lightened up, we were crazy. I had more shows than I could do.
Wow.
And this year I think we got 28 stunts or something like that.
Wow.
Last year we did 32.
Yeah, I know with ministry, with the church, it's been a gradual, come back. A lot of different people. People got used to watching online.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and it depends on your pastor. I mean, my pastor has different views than a lot of the people who vote here. His
Right.
views are a little bit different. So when it was the mask thing, and he was like, mask, whatever, it was. He never said you couldn't wear one, but he didn't say you had to. In the church, and we lost some people there. Then we lost some people to online, and now we've moved and bought a different building, about 25 miles away from where our church was.
Oh, wow.
But we have all those followers up there now, and then the people that were core followers here up there now. So our church is really strong. But it's been, I'd say since COVID, it's been, less and less people for quite a few years, and it's a struggle. And whether you want to believe it or not, you have to have revenue to run a church. And when you have a small following, it's pretty hard to keep that church going without dipping into your own pocket a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. I definitely do. Well, man, I want to thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us. I appreciate you. I appreciate your profession, your ministry. And again, you gave me one of the biggest thrills of my life. I've got 4 grandkids now, so I no matter how many grandkids I get, I can show them that video, and I can be impressive. So
Forever.
That's right. I appreciate.
Let me know if you want me to come jump a car in the parking lot. I'll come out.
We'd love to get you to come back and do something. So we'll holler at you and see what we can work out, because that was incredible. Sure was.
I just walked on fire for a Men on Fire conference like last year. It was pretty cool. It was in the snow, and I'm walking on fire, and the snow is melting around me as I'm going. They loved it. It was great.
Oh man, on your Instagram, you got some great pictures on there too, especially the fire pictures with the darkness and stuff around. Those are great.
Yeah, those are good stuff.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with. How can folks get connected with you or see what you're doing?
MrDizzy.com. We're TikTok. We're all the platforms. Put in Mr. Dizzy or Mike Buse, and you'll find me on there.
All right, Mr. Dizzy or Mike Buse. Check it out.
I have a kids charity too, by the way. I want to give it a shout out. It's Mr. Dizzy Kids. We do seatbelt safety and mostly helmet safety. If kids around the nation don't have a helmet, they can't afford one, we try to provide those as much as we financially can. And we're getting some sponsors for helmets right now too. We're looking for a couple extras, but we like to make sure kids have helmets on. I go and sign sometimes at some of the hospitals, and it's pretty surreal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and too, they see somebody, you jump in cars wearing a helmet. It's a little easier for them to put theirs on. So.
Yeah, I love your helmet. It looks all melted. It's great.
Yes, sir. There's lots of things I've lost over the years, but this has stayed right here for sure.
You bet you. You bet you. All right.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. Take care. God bless you.
All right, man. We'll see you later. Hey, guys. Wow. I'm going to tell you, you need to check out Mr. Dizzy and see some of the incredible things that he's doing. And you never know, we might have him come back. It was really, I'm not a junkie. I don't ride roller coasters. I'm not a junkie. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I don't ride roller coasters. I have rappelled. I've climbed mountains. I've river rafted down the, the Colorado River. I've done all those things, but it's always been something to do with teaching. It's like as long as it's got to do with teaching, I've been able so far to overcome my fear. I will say this, a couple of Christmases ago. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm getting a little older, but I've rappelled from our ceiling, which is 50 feet, something like that. but I was going to hang from the balcony, you know, like going after the one sheep. But our balcony's in an angle. And I got to tell you, I came over that balcony, I was practicing, and it was a lot more scary than I thought because of the angle. When I rappelled the other times, it was on a straight wall and then just open. And I loved it. I did that, 6 times, 7 times, how many services we had. But when I did that, I got to tell you, it was not only scary, then I got my feet tangled up in the Christmas lights. And I tore a muscle. I mean, I was black and blue from my waist down to my ankle. And we had all these Christmas services to do, but we made it. We sure did. So you never know. You never know what might happen. Hey, if you heard something that was encouraging or you thought was just entertaining, share it with somebody. And if you haven't already, click the bell so you always know when something's coming your way from our channel. Because, we got lots of content. Our goal is to build a community. Man, I want you to succeed. You got any ideas about what we can do to partner? Please let us know. Leave it in the comments below. And remember, we're always here. Every Thursday morning, we drop a new episode. We're on season 2. I mean, we've done well over 100 episodes. We have a live stream that happens every Sunday night. We just kind of hang out, have some fun. Got some leadership talks, all kinds of things right here on the channel, as well as all the other social media platforms. Again, thanks for hanging out with us here on the Troy Gramling podcast, and I will see you next time. God bless and have an incredible day. Wait, before you go, if you're enjoying our content, check out this interview or this one here. They're both really good. And don't forget, subscribe. It's really important. We'll see you next time.